Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our weekly stock market brief. This is where we talk about QQQ and the Mega Cat 7, Meta, Tesla, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia. We'll be looking at their support and resistance levels, as well as the overall market scenario, what's going on currently in the market. And right now, so I'm thinking that the market is currently, I'm still a cautious bull, just like I am last week when we were trading down here. Still a cautious bull as long as the market is still in an uptrend and there's no signs of red flags on the charts and whatsoever at this given point. And on Friday, SPY did really well because of the earnings that came out for the bank earnings. That's why you can see this XLF, which is the financial sector, pretty much was up 2%. You can see which carried SPY a lot. And what I want to see is a rotation into from these XLFs or XLVs into the Qs. So we can get the Qs to break out of this 493.8 resistance pretty much. It's a quadruple top at the moment. Very clear, right? Rejected there on September 26th. Rejected here again. Rejected in the last 3 days. So either we get some rotation to tech or we break out of this, come up to 496.34 or 500 mark. Or we just roll over and this forms more of a tightening range before it decides whatever it wants to do. Right, this could be a more of a balance area into elections or into more before earnings. Right, the market might want to wait for Apple's and all these big caps to report before it decides to break to all-time highs. So we'll see if whatever happens here. And we do have some earnings coming up next week. Fear and greed index, we're almost getting to extreme greed. If we start to get to the 80s, then I'm gonna be pretty cautious as a bull. I might look for the short side, but at this moment, right, chart is not really telling me any signs of red flag S or whatsoever at this given moment, at least for now. Right? I mean, we could just roll over Monday, right? Right, quadruple top rolls over. We start breaking these lows where we the sideways range and then crack below this sideways balance zone, right? That's a huge red flag. But for now, right, we don't want to just randomly anticipate that. We'll see it coming, right? And AI sentiment data, we get this every Wednesday, right? Still not to the extremes yet, right? If we start seeing some like 50s and then this bearish side gets really low, then I'll be a little bit worried. But we are getting kind of close to that, right? 20s for bearish sentiment is quite low, which makes sense. SPY is trading at all-time highs, right? Nobody's really that bearish when SPY is trading at all-time highs. So, but if we get a spike in bullish and this goes to like the teens, and we get this extreme greed, then we'll have to see that we might have a little bit shift to the other side. Of course, most of the stuff is going to be determined on earnings, right? If earnings comes in good, then probably not that big of a deal, right? If ASML comes in stellar earning, TSM comes in stellar earning, that's going to prop up the semiconductor sectors, which will also prop up the Qs, right? If these two do well, right, Nvidia might go up even more. It's all-time highs, and the Qs are going to go higher. And the rest of these are earnings, more so bank earnings, which will help XLF. XLF will pull up SPY. So we have to keep watch on these earnings next week to see how they come in. And then let's look at the technicals. So technical wise, just this quadruple top for me, right? Very, very clear as resistance, right? Can't be more clear than this. Reject, 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 reject. So let's see if we get over that. We're not. Can't. Then we're looking to these lows. Crack these lows, then this will not be a bull flag anymore. Right now it's still a bull flag. Let's see. Measure from, okay, there was a pivot here. So let's measure from this one. Yeah, currently still a bull flag on the daily. So as long as we don't really crack below this 38.2% mark, then if this just kind of chops around and forms higher lows every time, so each low is higher, 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 and then we crack through that, then no red flag stuff here at this moment. But if we start rolling over, crack below these levels, below Friday's low, Thursday's low, and then we kind of blow through that, we'll likely come down to test this for around this 487 zone, which is the top of this previous balance zone, right? And then if we crack through that, then we're probably coming down closer to lower around this 433 zone. And then if we crack through that, we're looking at the bottom of that balance zone, which is closer to this around 480, 479. So, I mean, that's a lot of work for bears to do, but let's see how many percent is that. Yeah, I mean, they could do it in one. I've seen them do it one day. 2.5%. We've seen 2.5% before, but it's just rare. So we don't want to like anticipate, or like guess that's gonna happen, right? When it happens, we'll see it, right? We're gonna see it drop, crack through here, and then crack through there, crack through there, and then we can prepare for that. But for now, no signs of that yet. And above us would be crack through there for 96.3 for me, and 500 is the next level. If we crack through 500, we're going all time highs, in my opinion. So, all right, let's take a look at the rest of the mega cap sevens to see if they can give us some clues. Are we shaping up any more weakness, or the strength is going to keep continuing, right? Because these sevens are the biggest weightings in the Qs. All right, Meta, not much to say. Still going all time highs. All right, you guys know what I talked about when we're in all time highs. We don't short all time highs regardless of what happens, unless we get a blow off top look. Right now there is no blow off top look. Been talking about this for weeks, ever since it's all time highs. Just let it do its thing until we see some resistance. And daily uptrend is still intact. There's no signs of red flags, and yeah, I wouldn't count this one as a blow off top, right? 1.8%. That's not a blow off top. Let's see. 3%. That's not a blow off top to me. Blow off top looks something like this. Two of these green days come up, and we crack through both of those green days and this whole structure right here. And then we come down below it, then come back up, back test that structure, reject the resistance. So that first step, that V shape, well, opposite V, but this we call blow off top if that happens, right? But no signs of that yet at this moment. So Meta, I would say lead bull is definitely helping the bulls here. And yeah, you can see that psychological 600 I talked about last week, where it could be psychological resistance. We kind of rejected there from 600-ish, but other than that, really no. Probably go sideways, my opinion, from here into its earnings. That's my opinion. And Tesla looks like it ended up doing that weekly 10-year range that I talked about. Pretty much nailed it last week. I said if we don't crack through this July's high right here, it's going to be a weekly equilibrium. So big move up, big move down. This big move up does not crack the prior move high, and then we come back down to it. And I would likely just tighten up further into probably earnings. So we'll see. Let's see if any bounces on the daily. Yeah, I know that we got that robotaxi event, but the chart already kind of rejected from that level before the event came in, and then that event kind of just solidified that tightening range to tighten up. We are kind of below this support, so when we come back up to it, if it acts as resistance, we're likely going to go a little bit lower, probably to the 200 cyclical support before we bounce from that tightening range. But if we can bounce back, crack through that, then we will potentially tighten up a little bit tighter here. So let's see if we can get back above. For me, it would be definitely this 234, very key resistance. Resistance. Tried to act as support before the event. I bounced on Thursday and then couldn't hold it, so it came down to here. So yeah. So let's let the participants dissolve that news over the weekend and see how it trades on Monday. Probably be pretty key. Overall. For now, I'll say that bigger picture is that tiny range. Look at Amazon. No signs of our flags for Amazon. Trend is still intact. Big move up. Kind of just flagged here. Another move up. And big pullback, but did not see the low of this structure. Low of this pullback pretty much is the high of this structure. So now buyers are affirmed that this structure is holding as support. Hence we bounced. So to me, there is no red flags on the buyer side at this moment. For me to see red flags, this needed to crack through that structure, right, and into this structure for it to be red flag. So Amazon is also bull. So no signs of red flag for me. We just have resistance around this 194 zone, which is the high of this low of this structure at this all-time high structure here. If we can crack through that, then we're probably looking up to 200 psychological resistance. And if we crack that, then we're all-time highs. So we'll see if we can do that. So Amazon also a lead bull in my opinion, but we are kind of sitting at resistance as well at this moment. So let's see if we can get over that. But no signs of reflex. For bears, you just need to crack below this low, right? This Monday, October 7th low, which is the high of this structure. Crack through that low, and then you can potentially look for this 170. But right now, no signs of that yet. For bulls on Google, it was just not really doing much. Still the lead bear. Might form this inverse head and shoulders I talked about. We're gonna come like this and then break above this inverse head and shoulders, which is pretty much is a psychology of it, just a downtrend into an uptrend. And it looked like it wanted to do that over here, right? On last Friday, and then they just had that news. What was that news? I think it was on Wednesday where they had that. They want to break up Google or something. I forgot the government what news was for the government, but anyways, that made the drop on Wednesday. Drop. So it looked like they wanted to kind of like bounce here with the market, but then they didn't. So after the news, it looks like it was pretty much no event, right? We dropped on Wednesday and bounced back the next 2 days. So it's like a non-event. So but let's see if we can pull off that inverse head and shoulders. Bears, you want to crack below the events. The news is low, which is Wednesday's low, which is also this left shoulder's low. And if we crack through that, then we're probably looking back down to closer to 151 for bears. For bulls, very clear resistance, can be more clear than this one, 168, right? Break above that, the inverse head and shoulders confirm, as well as we break above key resistance, will likely come up to test this 174, in my opinion, 74.6-ish. Microsoft. So Microsoft's been pretty weak as of lately. So even though, based on how much weighting Microsoft is in the Qs, 7% drop in Qs are still hanging out in the highs is pretty impressive. So yeah, Microsoft just bounced halfway back to 431. The Qs are probably going to test all-time highs. So get ready. If Microsoft bounces, right, we're probably going to get pretty darn green days next week. So keep an eye watch on this guy. And we look like we might start to bounce. So small bounce here, and it looks like bulls are holding support for the last 2 days, right? It's kind of just bears try to take a little bit lower, and they bounce back up a little bit. See these lower wicks. Bears try to take it lower, bounce back up, took it lower, bounce back up. So it's a good sign that on Friday, where they for the bulls, that they didn't let it break below Thursday's low. So that means Thursday's low is now potentially a higher low being set. So what the Microsoft bulls need to do is to break above Wednesday's high. If we can break above Wednesday's high, that's a daily uptrend confirmed back to the bulls, and we're probably going to have a good chance up to at least 426 around this level for me, 426, 427. And we crack through that, then we're looking back up closer to this 431-ish level for me. Yeah, and Microsoft can pull that off. Qs are definitely testing all-time highs. Yeah, Microsoft bounced 3%. Yeah, definitely. Microsoft bounces 4%. Qs definitely will be testing all-time highs. We're not even that far, right? We're 1%. From this 500 to crack 500, we're definitely testing the all-time highs. It's only 2% away. So yeah, definitely would be. And if we get every one of them moving, with Microsoft moving as well to the upside, we're cracking all-time highs for the Qs. But for now, Apple has a little bit of resistance as well. Right? You can see these tops that are kind of forming triple tops, but still no red flags, right? Big move up, reject, right? We were kind of just tightening up on these triple tops. We're still in striking distance, so no red flags for me on the either. Right? If we start cracking through this and break below this Monday, October 7th low, then we will probably come down closer to this 217 level here. And that would be starting to shape up a red flag because this can crack through, and then that will come down closer to this 211. So that's the bear side if that happens. For the bull side, for me, very clear resistance at 230. This million wicks up here top. You can see 3 more here. And you can see we're just kind of chilling there as well right now. So the 230 zone, it would be resistance for me. Crack through 30, we're looking up at 232. It's triple top. So very clear for bulls. Crack through here, come up here, and then maybe we'll come up and try this, test this all-time high. If this happens as well, Microsoft moves, Qs are definitely all-time highs. But we don't want to anticipate or guess because they could just come up and form a quadruple top and then just continue to tighten up. I think that's, yeah, it's actually very clear trend line here. Just use this as a current support. So yeah, so you can just pretty much say as long as bulls stay above this trend line, in full bull control, right? Bounce, bounce, bounce. We bounce back up here again, and this is kind of like ascending triangle, triple top with higher lows each time, higher low, and then let's see if we can break stuff above this ascending triangle. All right, let's take a look at Nvidia. Nvidia. So we finally broke above this tightening range that we've been tightening for many months, and big move up, big move down, big move up, get smaller, 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 and finally broke bull right here. And you can see I talked about this structure last week, saying it'll likely act as resistance, which it did on Monday. Right, we came up, rejected from the high, and then bull said, "Nope, we're gonna continue." Right, and then they cracked through. Right when they cracked through that, you can see we got a 4% day on Tuesday, and we just kind of bull flagging at this moment. And there really not much follow through on Friday, even though we broke the highs, but no big deal, right? QQQ was flat, so we're kind of just testing this at this moment. So yeah, so the only resistance I'm seeing is just this little guy right here, around this 135, and pretty much at all-time highs. That's it. So if Q gets one more green day, it's like a solid green day. I'm not talking about like a 0.6, 0.16. You're like even like a 1% day, we're probably gonna crack at least this one first, 135, right? So yeah, so we'll be seeing if bulls show up next week, crack this quadruple top, test this 500, or we're gonna reject it from here right here and just kind of balance a little bit more and market wait for their actual earnings to come out before they decide if they want to break their actions of this level. So those are 2 scenarios I'm looking at this moment. But for now, the mega cap sevens, their charts are looking fine. No signs of red flags yet, and some of them might even be gearing up for a bigger move on the upside. Especially key watch for me is Microsoft. If Microsoft starts to confirm daily uptrends and move back to the upside, that's a lot of support for the Qs. And the Qs obviously is 30% of SPY, so that will hold SPY up quite a bit as well in the all-time highs. So yeah, so I'm still a cautious bull as long as the chart tells me that we're in uptrend. Have a great rest of you guys' weekend. I will be doing the commodities update tomorrow. And if you guys learn anything, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. If you guys want to support the channel, it's all free. If you just support the channel on the Patreon link below on the YouTube. And have a great Thanksgiving for you Canadians. And have a great rest of you guys' weekend for the States. And everyone else, take care.